Hello everyone, and welcome to the final video for Let's Play Croc 2. We are now in the secret Cossack village, filled with darkness and twistedness, and look at this, it's evil! They took away the limbs of the snowman. Those evil, evil buggers. But, like I said with last video, we're not going to be seeing much of the villages, or this village and the other one, because, well, there's not a lot to see other than more devil dantinis everywhere. So I'm just going to be splicing up things everywhere, especially with the Cossack village, because the placement of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is not obvious. Now, in terms of the last bit of interesting facts that I have about this game, one is that apparently it had a subtitle to it when it was in development, which did not actually happen. Croc 2 was supposed to be titled apparently Croc 2 Kingdom of the Gobos, which I can kind of understand because, well, simply because, well, Kingdom, there's more tribes, like, it kind of matched. I guess one other thing about the music that I didn't mention was pretty much, well, this track. Kind of out of place. Other than being, like, a one-off thing. And I kind of don't like that there's that feeling of being, like, one-off about it. It doesn't fit anywhere else, you don't hear it anywhere else other than in, like, Chase the Choo Choo Train and here. So I kind of really wanted, like, more music that fit with each world. Because, well, in truth, like, Croc 1 had a lot of music that was remixed already from other worlds, like, from previous worlds, like the first world, and then they put an icy jingle to it, and then they put a desert field to it, and then a castle, which was also remixed for this game. Like, there wasn't anything new for the castle, I don't think. And my platforming is absolutely horrendous here, so, sorry about that. In terms of the platforming, it's relatively the same, which is either bad or good depending on your situation. Me, it's, well, don't touch what isn't broken, is kind of my feeling. Other than with the ice physics. The ice physics can kind of go to hell, because I've already explained that, well, attacking enemies on these kind of areas doesn't really work all that well. Now, in terms of overall feeling about Croc 2, I feel that it was held back a lot because it tried to be bigger than its first game. And to be honest, I prefer Croc 1 over Croc 2 in a lot of ways. And I think it's not just because of nostalgia factor for Croc 1. I think it's also because Croc 1 was also a lot more simple in terms of its story, its execution, and pretty much just like its game feel. This doesn't feel original compared to the others. Or original compared to the first game. It takes a lot from other more famous PlayStation games, like Spyro's Hub World. I mentioned a lot of Crash Bandicoot for some reason. But when I kind of think about that, I also think about Crash Bandicoot and Spyro in that case. There's also not a lot of focus in Croc 2. There's a lot of ideas. There's a lot of cool things that they wanted to do, which they kind of showed off, but there wasn't a lot of structure to make them all cohesively work together, which I felt really would have made it a lot more of an experience that kind of settled better with me. For instance, on top of, like, missing an entire tribe that they had promoted from the game, there's also, depending on where you're able to look and what you're able to find, I found a couple of screenshots for different takes on levels, like Cannon Boat Keith, and also unused levels that use more of the raft. because, well, we only saw one instance of the raft, and that was for 2 seconds in Up the Waterfall in the Inca Village. And there we have it. We have all 5 crystals for the Cossack Village. You relatively should be in that area, because the one I came out of was for Cossack Secret 5. And there's the egg on top of the ice, which is going to make this collection a little bit awkward. But there we go. 2 eggs down, 1 to go. Welcome to the secret Caveman Village. It's just filled with Caveman Dantinis. There's no reason to go to the Gold Rock area because the door for that isn't open. So let's just head on to the first level. Another thing about Croc 2 that I feel is brought down by that Croc 1 really didn't have a bother with was also controls. Especially with this area in general is why I'm talking about it, is because, well, there's the triple jump and the long jump. I'm just going to point those 2 out. They're really contextual, especially for the long jump, because there's really only 2 areas that we're using the long jump for its actual purpose other than for just fun. And the triple jump is really contextual, and I already have a problem with it because you don't know when to use it until you kind of realize that your regular jump doesn't work. It's not obvious. And I guess, true, it shouldn't be obvious, but I really like it if you needed to use it, there was more of an incentive, and that you weren't punished for not knowing that you needed to use it. If that made any sense coming out of my mouth. But I think with another thing with Croc 2, compared to Croc 1, is that Croc 1 had a very simple story. Baron Dante was bad, he took all the gobos, you have to go get the gobos back. There was kind of an overshadowing of Croc being an orphan, but it didn't get in the way. So they just kind of made so it was focused a lot more. Croc 2, on the other hand, there was a bunch of different subplots that they didn't really put a focus on at all. For instance, finding Croc's parents. Like, that was a natural development of going from Croc 1 to Croc 2, sure. But the problem was that they didn't stick with it. Because you also had the kidnapping of the Professor Gobo, which kind of was also handled halfway. Because both plot lines were kind of dumped for World 2 and 3. You didn't really see any of that other than like talking to the Gobos, and they're gonna mention the Professor offhand. But especially with finding Croc's parents, you don't hear anything about that until World 4, where they come back with it. You have to... So... I feel that the more complicated the story got, or the more complicated they wanted to make the story for Croc 2, the more there was a little bit of an issue. And something a little bit offhand. Need more enemy variations here. There were a lot of enemy variations, even though they were Dantinis in Croc 1. Here they use Devil Dantinis and then substitute them with blue and red flames coming out of their thing. And other than that, there's not a lot of other differences, which is kind of sad. I don't really get it. And then here is Caveman Secret number 5, which I can just go ahead and go die now. Yeah, I completely forgot this was at the very end of doing all of the secret worlds. Just put a hot knife in me, I'm done. I didn't want to see another minecart again as long as I live, and it's the last thing I have to see out of this game, minus collecting the egg. Go everything. Go. I need to go. I need to go and play something else that doesn't involve minecarts as bad as this. Flying off is so fun, and that can go rest in pieces for all I really care about it. And there we have it. The last set of 5-color crystals. Now all we have to do is go back to the egg, wherever it may be. It is across the river. Ah, there we go. And the cage disappeared. Now we can go collect it, which means that we collected all 3 of the eggs from Baron Dante's hand. Because apparently that's all that escaped the portal. Overall, this whole last thing is kind of just disappointing in my sense. It's kind of just like spiraling down to finish. And what do we get for collecting all 3 eggs? We get a wonderful message that says we completed 100% of the game! Kinda like with defeating the Crystal Sentinel in the last game. So, it's kinda sad there. One thing I did have to do with the credits, actually, is I had to slow them down by half the speed. Because the message and the credits go by really quickly, which is kind of silly. Kind of stupid. But anyway, in terms of Croc 1 and 2, I definitely prefer Croc 1 the most. And in terms of the final interesting fact I have about this game, in 2 separate Argonaut interviews in 2001, it was stated that work on a 3rd Croc title was supposed to begin soon. This is back in 2001, I mind you. And one of these interviews also hinted that there was supposed to be a Croc racing game. In terms of wrapping this up and saying whether or not a 3rd game would be a good thing to have, I don't know. I think I'd be down for a 3rd game. Probably won't happen, like a lot of other sequels, that I kind of think that if a 3rd game happened, I would play it. But yeah, I think I'd be down, especially if they were able to put down a lot more focus into delivering what they want to do on it. Of course, this is in an alternate dimension where my dreams exist, and that's all fine with me. So that is going to be it for Let's Play Croc 2. I hope you enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed kicking back and relaxing with just a more simple game than I usually do. And with that, the Croc games come to a close as well, because there really isn't anything else other than, I think there's a mobile game and there's also Game Boy games, but I'm not touching those. But I don't know. They're fun to play every now and again, especially the first one. I'll always go back to it. But in terms of that, it's time to move on to something else. Something less platformy. Something a little more close to my heart next time. And a little bit more of what I've been wanting to do for a long time now. So yes, Croc 2 is now at an end. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing this, and also the little bits and pieces and interesting facts I had along the way. It was fun researching some things, and also finding all of the pictures, because, well, as difficult as it was good to see that some things were actually there every now and again. But yes, I will now say my goodbyes now. Thanks everybody for watching again. Take care, everyone.